for us, y'all. It's for us.
Yeah.
We made it. I hope. I hope we made it.
I hope so too.
The process of this, I know people who know what it is to the podcast know what it is. This is our first venture into it.
Yeah.
I can't begin to tell you how many times we started and stopped and had to, this wasn't plugged in, that wasn't connected. And we done talked for 45 minutes.
Take 19.
I thought we had it that last time. Yo, that last time we was rolling.
Yeah. Yeah. The time that you will not see.
The time that you will not see.
Yeah.
The time that we had the same outfit, same time, same space.
Yep.
Hi, y'all. I'm Monique.
And I'm Eric.
And we are Spice and Sacrifice.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yeah.
Until further notice.
It's always going to be Spice and Sacrifice.
Let's hope so.
What?
Let's hope so. That's all we got. All we got is today. Right.
Okay.
Let's hope so. That's all we got. That's all we got is a
Don't
hope.
get cute.
That's all I'm holding on to is hope.
Living on a prayer.
Okay. As you see, she's the spice part in this. All right.
Okay, so
Yes.
the people,
So please.
tell the people, Eric, who we are,
Yeah.
what we here for, what they can expect from us, and what we
Yes.
expect from them.
So, hey guys, we are just a married couple. We're just a typical married couple. We're just dedicated and just doing our part just to make the gospel relevant in all areas of life.
This is the gospel of Jesus Christ.
There we
Sorry.
go. And we like to talk about love, life, relationships, and all that good stuff from a Christian perspective.
Yeah, amens.
Yeah.
Amens. We recording, we rolling.
Yeah, we recording and we rolling.
I gotta check because
Check
I had
19.
enough. I had enough of starting
know.
over again.
Okay.
It ain't even about being fake, but you have to get your energy to a certain place to, to present the way you're supposed to present.
That is true.
And I don't always feel like this. I
No.
do right now. I do right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, no, you don't.
I
no,
don't.
you don't.
I
No.
don't. That was a very vehement agreeal, but it's
Yeah,
the truth.
No, but it's true. I'm disagreeing with you vehemently.
Right.
Yeah, like, no, you don't always feel like it.
Right. So
Now, if you leave it up to me now, it's a different story.
you're more even keeled than I am.
Yeah, because, you do the wave.
I am woman, hear me roar.
You do the wave. So, and meanwhile, I'm still here just like this.
Same old same.
I'm day to day. Ain't nothing changed with me.
That's true for the most
Yeah.
part. He
Yeah.
has little, like when you be sitting on the shore and the little water comes and
My
trickles
currents
in.
my currents aren't big though.
Like, you're right about that.
My currents aren't big, and even if they are, 9 out of 10, I probably wouldn't let you know. I wouldn't let you know the severity of it. I wouldn't.
We could talk about that in episode 2.
Anyway,
Because what I want to say is why, da, 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 why don't
That's
you
why
tell
she's the
me
spice.
why?
I'm just plain
do
old
you do me that
sacrifice.
way? But anyway, yes, today's episode.
Is the question:
Mm.
Do you fall in love, or do you fall asleep? And when I say fall asleep, I do not mean just in the sense of you just put your head down and you pray to the Lord your soul to keep. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, do you treat love the same way that you treat falling asleep?
Right. When he came to me and he presented it to me, he asked me, what are the similarities between, do you see any differences or similarities between falling in love and falling asleep? And I was surprised.
You found you found both.
I found both. More
Yeah.
similarities than differences.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. For me, I barely found any differences.
You didn't?
No. And I'm only saying that only in terms of how it's been packaged. The idea
Yeah,
of
the
falling in love.
packaging, yeah.
You see all these little rom-coms, you see all these books, Toni Morrison or whatever the books that you all read. I don't know. I'm just throwing out some names that I hear y'all girls, y'all.
When the
y'all
last
use as
girl you
authors.
dated?
Huh?
She was 72?
No, she was 40. Look, you see the gray in my beard?
Toni Morrison ain't writing rom-com.
I don't know what she write. I don't know. I just threw that out there. Look, that lets you know I am way over my head. I'm just here.
I know what you're saying, though. I'm just messing with you.
Listen.
I'm just poking the bear. That's
You
all I'm
poking the
doing.
listen, you can poke the bear. You can poke the bear.
That's that TV. That's that TV.
Remember, winter's coming.
Oh,
I'm hibernating. I
Okay.
don't know if you might want to do
All
that.
right.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
Right. But it's packaged like this Disney kind of, she's in the supermarket, you know, in the fruit section, and he walks in out of the rain, and he just want to get some of the dirt off his shoes or whatever, because he just want to go, you know, he probably want to get a 6-pack of beer and just get online and go home. But then all of a sudden the eyes meet and right, and it's all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right, and it make it look like it's so haphazard.
Effortlessly.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it just happened. And
Yeah.
then love just, you know, just naturally just keep going and progressing as it should, just as a system of just happen
Versus
without any
effort, intentionality,
purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like you know what, that there is a mental component as well as you know, as a spiritual
physical,
and
chemical,
emotional
and
right.
Yeah. There are a lot
Right.
of elements of it, and I think it is interesting that that we use the word falling for both when
Fall
one is
asleep.
absolutely more intentional and purpose driven versus sleep can be something that you genuinely fall into because you're tired, you know, you've overexerted yourself or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And for me, I just found that, you know, when I came out the bathroom with that thought, I was like, you know what? No. People do be treating love like sleep. You know, oh, you know, if sleep is so good, I don't ever want to get up, you know, and all that kind. Like, people really do live their romantic lives, their marital lives, their dating lives, and everything else in between, as if it's like it's one long continuing sleep with no expectation. Oh, yeah, with expectation, right? With no expectation
let you know,
of ever waking up.
Babe, I just want to let you know that
Yeah.
I'm going to be the word police. And whenever you mess up, I'm going to do like...
That is fine.
Okay, so don't be annoyed with me. You're going to be annoyed sometimes because you're going to be on your train. And I'm going to be like, excuse me, flag on the play. Expectation ain't a word. So I just want to let you know.
Expectation.
Okay.
Yes.
I love you. Just...
I love you too.
Okay.
Go ahead, Wordsmith.
No, you're right. You're right.
Go ahead.
You're right.
Earn that last name.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Right. Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the first similarities that I thought of was the state that you have to be in to fall in love and fall asleep.
Right.
Which is like, I feel like you have to be vulnerable.
Okay.
You have to have your guard down in order to fall asleep. You have to have your guard down in order to fall in love or
True.
to be in a place. We're going to get into, I'm sure, the idea of falling in love versus what love is
Right.
in a Christian mindset, because we don't believe in falling in love, so to speak. It has to be framed and packaged a different way. But for the purpose of what we're just trying to describe right now, falling in love and falling asleep, you know, you have to have your guard down. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be, to some degree, at a state of peace and at rest. Otherwise, you won't be able to fall asleep if you have all these outside stimuli, things, you know, stimulating you. You have to be at rest, be vulnerable, be peaceful,
Well,
in a state...
Go ahead.
No, in a place to receive the rest that's coming to you or that you need. And the same thing for love. Like, you have to be unguarded, vulnerable, naked and unashamed, so to speak, and in a space to give and receive love, be available to it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was the first similarity that I thought of.
I was about to ask you about the state of peace in order for, you know, I guess love to happen. I was just about to ask you, well, do you really need peace in order for it? But then I just thought a little bit further, and I said, yeah, I guess you would. Yeah, there has to be some element of tranquility, I guess. Yeah, in order for it to occur.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, everything's on a sliding scale, because you have some people who possess more peace, operate in more peace than others do. And the people that have less peace operating in their lives, I'm sure, I know people who have been able to find love find them, but then operate in love, give and receive and flow properly And when the love comes, more peace comes along with it.
Right, right,
But I think there just have to be some element of it. You can't be living a totally chaotic life.
right.
And you got a whole bunch of mess going on, and your guards is up, and you're defensive and resentful and bitter about what this one did or didn't do, and think you're a good breeding ground for love. You ain't forgiving, you hard hearted, and that ain't never gonna work.
Yeah.
That ain't never gonna work, right?
Yeah. All right. So.
Oh, I want to read. Can I read this quote? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sure. Read the quote.
When I was doing
Read
my
what you
little
got, what you got.
research about when the different thoughts came to mind, taking a couple of notes, and then I did a little research. And the quote there was a movie that came out a few years ago. I don't know if I was supposed to be staring at the camera. I'm kind of staring off. I'm looking at you. I wonder how it's gonna look when it's all done. I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
There's a movie that came out called The Fault in Our Stars, but it was also a book. I remember my daughter reading it years ago. But anyway. The quote don't ask me what it's about. What's the story? I don't know, y'all. This was just the quote.
Okay.
The quote says, I'm assuming it's a woman saying it. The quote is, as he read, I fell in love the way you fall asleep, slowly and then all at once. Should I say it again for the people in the back?
Yeah, say it again.
I'm going to say it for the one in the back who was sleeping because you was hanging out Saturday night and you just dragged your butt into church on Sunday. You didn't hear me. So I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
As he read, I fell in love the way you fall asleep, slowly and then all at once. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just needed one of those.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's
Just
perfect.
needed one
Yeah.
of those.
So that was another. I know you were going to say something, but I just want to say there's one similarity because you had brought it up.
When I think about just the idea of the term falling in love, right? I guess if to make sense of it, I would probably say it's a state of mind that's moving from one into another.
One state of mind to another.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I guess it's similar to sleep. Because sleep, you're actually doing the same thing.
Right.
You're in that state of one mind, but you're moving into another. And for me, where both of them are just the same, period, was just the fact that there's stages in sleep, where you go from this REM, which is anywhere between 2 to 5 hours, and then you go into this deeper sleep for the
But
remaining.
before the REM, there's even like a light sleep.
Yeah, there's a
pre.
stage.
Yeah.
There's some kind of a pre. Yeah, right. And I think with the whole process of falling in love, I think it's quite similar. It's quite similar. Like there is this little pre-love thing where it's more like you like what you see. Chances are you like what you hear, right? You're checking out each other, the mannerisms, and all that other good stuff. I see you. She over here giving me the loving eyes, y'all.
I had fell in love with you. Remember that song?
You fell in love.
That song.
It was haphazard. You
No.
slipped and you fell on an
No.
Eric Rock, and it was like boom. There he go.
No,
Yeah,
there you go. No, we're gonna redefine it.
You gonna
as we go
redefine?
along
Okay,
in Christian
wait,
terms.
Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah,
you want to do that now?
I think we need. No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
But once we
go ahead.
do it, you'll be able to apply that definition to
Yeah.
when I say I fell in love with you. And then
Okay.
continually fall in love with him. By the way, don't get no funny ideas.
Okay, so
So that's what the Google was for. But go ahead.
yeah, so you're checking each other out in the beginning and everything, and you're liking what you're hearing, and your go places and all of that, and maybe as time goes on, and more exposure to each other, more communication, and everything else, then there's this part where almost like a rapid eye movement in sleep, where things seem to be moving so fast in the sense of, wow, we could finish each other's sentences, and wow, it's only been a few weeks, but I feel like I've known you forever. Kind of like the rapid eye movement, because it feels like although it's a very short period, but if you wake up out of that, it makes you feel as if like you've been in it longer than what you actually has, right? So it's quite similar.
Take 19 is good because he never said that before. That's a really
Well, this is This is new, babe. This is new. They don't know about 19. Y'all don't know about
Yeah,
9.
but
Y'all don't know about the first 18.
But I do, and that's like revelation. Like, so that's
Yeah.
really good. Strong head.
Well,
Strong head. That was good.
Thank you.
Give it up. That was good. I appreciate that
And cut.
perspective.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So, so similarly, it's, I think about love now. Once it moves from that point, then you get into this deeper stage.
Yes.
Just like sleep, you go into this deeper stage.
Yes.
Right. Which, depending on how you sleep, that could be the remaining 4 hours that's left to make up your 8 hour. Or if you're a 10-hour sleeper, that could probably be the remaining 6 hours or whatever. Where it's really deep and sound and all that kind of stuff. And I think with the falling in love aspect, that is the next stage.
Keep talking. Just act like Faith is playing in the background.
No, I cannot. No. So then just like with love now, it gets to that point now where the involuntary feelings are starting to develop and starting to grow and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. Right.
Right.
But my thing is that love, again, it's such an intentional, powerful, relational word. It's the thing that, to be quite honest, it's the thing that keeps the human race alive. If we really think about it, it's love, right? And I would like to think that when we do love, that it's just that. It's intentional. And I think just to apply that word, it's
very casual.
It's very casual
haphazard.
and free. And I don't think it really fit.
It doesn't. But the problem is in putting the word falling in, the phrase falling in front of love, one kind of cancels out the other, because as believers, we know what love is, we know who love is, and we know it's not something that happens. God is love, right?
Yeah, God is love.
And God, him being love and his character being love, it initiates.
Yeah.
Love initiates. It's not something that is casual. It's not something you fall into. It's very intentional. It has a purpose. It has a focus. It does things. It sacrifices. It's patient. It forgives. It does all of those things. So it's not, you don't fall into any of those things.
Right.
Those are things you have to learn. You have to practice them. You grow in them. And I think when, in talking about a better phrasing for falling in love from a Christian perspective, I mean, I would say the world should adopt it too, but we can't expect the world to operate by the same standards that we do.
But maybe we can teach the world.
So let's teach the world
what love is.
Here we are, ready to teach the world.
Yeah, as the way that God prescribed it, not necessarily the way of how we personally interpret it.
Right.
And then the funny thing is, when love doesn't work, for many of us, we'll turn around and then blame love or get mad at love because love is not what you expected.
But see, that is true.
You know what I mean?
So that's what we should do. We should redefine it for culture, and that's why I think a better way of phrasing it is: I met you, boy meets girl, and I'm starting to see, acknowledge, and even feel, because there's a component of feeling that's involved. But to phrase it as I'm growing in love with you.
Yeah.
That's better than falling in love.
Yeah.
Because love is very specific things that require work, focus, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just all of those things plus more. Yeah, so I just think that's a better way. So when I say I fell in love with him, that's what it was. I already loved him as another image bearer created in the Imago Dei. I loved him because he was my brother in Christ. I was obviously attracted to him, and I liked what I heard and what I saw and all of the things, but I started to grow in love for him.
Right.
So that's more fitting than to say, because growth is a maturing word. Growth is something that there are stages of it.
Yeah.
Growth is something that you can look at and track the progress of.
Yeah.
When it comes to falling, it's such a loosey-goosey.
It is.
It's not real.
Right. And love is a commitment that you grow into.
Hello. That's the word I didn't use.
And it's not just emotions.
Where's the applause?
Can we say it? I believe that love is a commitment that you grow into, and not necessarily one that based off of emotions that you go into.
It's not. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Commitment.
Yeah.
That's the big word. That love is a commitment. It is a yeah. Yeah. That was the dude in the back. That's the dude in the back.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Yeah.
It's a choice, it's a decision. All of those words are intentional. They're not things that you fall into.
Yeah.
You don't so
right.
So that's so do you have any other ways
but now here's now another angle. So you fall.
Yes.
Do you get up?
I hope so.
And when you get up, are you getting up in love?
That's the question.
Right? Or even better this, or when you fall asleep, there's a point when you have to
wake up.
So my question is, what is it like after
the falling? When you get up.
Exactly.
What is it like? That's the problem. I think that's the problem the world has and that I think Christians have is that you, after the falling, the feelings, the this, the je ne sais quoi, I just did not know what it is, voulez-vous. After that happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Then what? The seasons of the up and down, I don't feel the thing. Now what do I do? Now I'm either trying to chase this thing that's not easily replicated, or you just don't know how to operate in the space of how do I action love this person when I don't feel love? When the Google Gaga and the bubble guts and the sweaty pits, because that's what I get. I get bubble guts and sweaty pits. When that's gone, then what? My pits are sweaty right now.
Oh,
they are sweaty.
I can't tell.
They are sweaty.
I can't tell.
Yeah, like what do you do? You know, and that's the problem. People, it ends up in divorce court, or well, I don't feel that thing. We fell out of love, so we don't need to be together anymore. Versus there can be a perpetual falling in love as you're perpetually growing with the person, whether you feel it or not. That's where the commitment part comes in. Like I'm committed to loving you, not committed to feeling what I felt from day one, but I'm committed to love action you, because the way God loves us is it's perpetual, but he showed us how he loves us in sending his son to die for us. He demonstrated it for us. It is an action. It is purposeful with an intention in mind.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I think people miss in dating when they're chasing the falling in love feeling, or just the fluttery, the good feelings that happen with love. There's a chemical thing that happens in you when you're loving and being loved. Who wouldn't want to chase that feeling? But the truth is, it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Not in this world. It's not sustainable.
True. My thing is that
Are you sure it's not getting too dark? I feel like it's getting dark. Yeah, we were losing daylight, so we just added a little bit of light. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So my thing is that when you wake up, or when a person wakes up, hopefully the sleep was enough that it should translate into energy that you need in order to go on with your day.
You're refreshed.
Right? So how you are now when you wake up usually is a result of how well you slept. So my thing is,
that boy good.
My thing is, when it comes to love, so after you do this falling part and you, let's say, you get past the falling phase.
In love.
Right. My thing is, do you have what it takes to go on after the falling part? Yeah. That's the part that I want to know. And I think that when it comes to how we've been sold on this idea, especially this Western idea of what love is, I think many times we leave from it with a lot of unmet expectations, a lot of heartache, a lot of disappointment that we probably could have checked
at the door.
Yeah, or at least checked maybe several stages prior. Yeah. Had you been, been aware
Yes.
and knew that, guess what? This so-called falling stage, hate that word falling, but anyway, but that falling stage is not always going to be the thing that's going to carry love. You need something that is more substantial.
Yeah.
Right? So what I propose, just like what you said, I think we need to change the words because words have meaning, right?
Yes.
And I don't know about anybody else, but I'm the type of dude that when I say something, I don't want to say things just to shoot the breeze. I don't want to say things so that you leave with one perception of something which is totally different from what I mean or what's going on in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's not really good communication.
Right.
And, and it breeds ground for a lot of dissension and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So just like how you said earlier in terms of growing in love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think like I'm ready to love.
Yeah, you need to be ready
right?
to love.
Because we're not old. Because if truth be told, there's no way in the world that someone is going to tell me that you were ready to love at first sight, like love at first sight, right? You can't tell me that in week 1. You certainly can't tell me that on week 2. I'll give you an allowance for an intuition, like, you know what? Something is telling me that this person is the one. Right. I'll give you that.
I had that.
Right, but
he didn't. It's all right.
I'm
we here now.
No, I was like molasses. It took me a while.
We here now.
But the drip.
Somebody got to initiate. But
the drip came eventually, but it took a while.
I'll take the slow drip. The slow drip led to where we are. I'm all right. Anyway.
It took a while. But when it came, it was, it was good. And I would like to think that it was rich.
It was perfect.
It was rich, right? Like the molasses is rich. It's rich. Right?
Yes.
Right. You don't want no runny. Anyway. Right. So...
The saints of the Most High watching.
Oh boy, yeah. We are such an unconventional Christian company.
We're conventional, but conventional.
But we keep it a buck.
Keep it a buck. So listen, something that you said that was so good.
What's up?
The falling in love versus the falling asleep. Please, Lord, don't let me have just lost that thought just that quickly. Okay. Oh, you're talking about the expectations of falling in love and how. Oh gosh.
Yeah. You mean in terms of
when you come into when you set yourself up to go to sleep, you are expecting something from it. Rest, refresh, regeneration. Like you're expecting something from it. And I think that the world has programmed us to think that love is the same way. It's the consumer mentality of I'm going in to get something. But here's a difference. This is a difference. I didn't even write that in my notes. That with sleep, you are getting something from it. It's something that you're going to get something from.
Okay.
Restoring, regeneration, renewal, rest.
Got it.
But in love, you're not supposed to be going to it into relationships thinking about what can I get from it. True. You're supposed to be thinking, how can I love? Love is an action. You're supposed to be and that don't mean be a doormat, let him do or her, do you how he want or her how she want. But the point is when you go into relationship thinking, how can I love this person? And if we're both doing that, it is the perfect loving circle.
Yeah.
If we're both thinking, how can we love the other? It will always work out. We don't even operate that way all the time the way we should. But that's one difference that I thought of as you were talking about it, is that one is something that you go to get something from. And I think the world does think of love and falling in love as something that you can go to get something from it when you shouldn't be. That's not what love is. Love is an action. It's a bank that you are supposed to be depositing into versus what can I go to get from what I need to get from it. So that's the difference. And I never thought about it. I never thought about that one. So that was a good one.
No. Okay.
That was a good one, Eric.
Praise God for that.
Praise him.
Praise God.
What else? Doing either one too quickly, whether it's falling in love or falling asleep, right? If you do either one too quickly or too regularly, it can be a sign of deprivation and health issues. Meaning, if you should, I hope you caught what I was throwing at you. What I'm saying is, if you fall asleep too quickly, or too regularly. It's a sign of something wrong with you physically. Like you
Yeah.
have narcolepsy, you're not resting properly, you're not eating properly, you fall asleep at the drop of a hat. Like you know people like that. You're like, what is wrong with you? Like
Yeah.
why you
Yeah.
you sleep more than you should. It's a sign that something's wrong. There's some deprivation, there's some lack in your
There's
life.
lack. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a
Similarly,
lot.
on the other side, if you are falling in love
Like
too
what?
much or
Yeah,
too
like
regularly,
3 times a month, 4 times a month. with
every
four different-
dude you meet,
Right.
you know who you are, TT.
You know.
You fall in love with every dude you meet.
Yeah.
And
Every chick with the BBL. Oh gosh.
who want that?
Please.
I mean,
You
dudes
know,
be liking what they like.
they
Whatever.
like what they like. Yeah. You know.
And if you fall in love with BBL, side note, that ain't even love. So can we just anyway?
Yeah.
The point being, if you are falling in love too quickly or too regularly, it is a sign of disease in you. There is some sort of lack, deprivation, hole, void that you're trying to fill by loving everything, or you think it's love, it's really not. Loving everything that you see and falling in love with. Oh, and you giving people the benefit. Been there, giving folk the benefit of the doubt that don't. Have you been there? Give folk the benefit of the doubt that you shouldn't have.
Yeah, give a lot of people benefit of the doubt, but then you know, after a while, I learned that don't do that when they're giving you reasons to doubt their benefits or lack of benefits.
You heard it.
You know,
You heard it here first.
Yeah, these gray hairs be killing me.
Did I press it? Oh, I don't know how to work the board thing. Yeah, so the point is that's a similarity. If you're doing either one of them too regularly or too quickly, there's a sign of disease or unhealthiness inside of you somewhere. Okay, so you were saying the differences.
I wanted you to talk about the differences.
Differences. Well, one of the differences I had was I likened falling in love to the spring, where it's like renewal and new life and, you know, possibilities and new possibilities, right? While falling asleep was more of the winter season, where it's dormant, it's still, it's quietness. You know, there's not really, and of course, as I say it and I think about other conversations we've had, I realize there are more layers to this, but there's not a lot of growth or anything going on. It's just a quiet, still time. And you think of, you know, that's just how I thought of like spring for love and winter for sleep, falling asleep or being asleep rather.
So you said that falling in love is like springtime.
Yes.
So are you saying that you said winter where it's, I'll put it in my words, like stagnant, still, quiet, right?
Mm.
And you said love is more like spring where it's what? You said it'd be like what? It's renewed and
you know, new possibilities and new life and things are springing up and
all right. So it's moving. So you're right. So you're looking at falling in love like things are moving.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I just had to think about that for a minute because I was wondering if it's possible that you could be growing in love
Oop.
and not moving.
And still stagnant. Where is my MLK church fan?
I don't know.
This is when I need my MLK church fan. That was good because I thought you were gonna make the other point that you made, which is just as valid, that in the winter and even when you sleep, there is refreshing and growth happening. It's just you can't see it.
You're right,
but
you can't.
came from the other side where you could be in that other season of love, so to speak, but you dormant and you really not.
But nothing's moving. But I'm just wondering, and is that truly growing in love? I'm not using fall anymore.
Okay, we've evolved.
Yeah,
Usually how we done grown.
I've officially canceled.
Catch up.
Or at least on my part, I've officially canceled the word fall. The term falling in love.
We growing.
Yeah.
I think as I was thinking about it, that's at first the thought is like, ooh, that you could be with the thought is you can be with somebody and there'd be no growth. And that is definitely like that be happening.
Right.
But what we're talking about is love. You cannot be growing in love and be stagnant. It's not possible. One cancels out the other. So it's not even really possible. So if you're in a place where, even if you're in a healthy marriage, that for whatever reason, you know, timing, seasons, whatever, life happens, things change, and you're in a season of, you love your partner.
Okay.
But you're in a season of maybe things are dead
Mm-hmm.
or dormant.
Right. Mm.
I would venture to say that love is just not, you're not active. You're not loving each other in an active way. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility for it to be
Mm-hmm.
regenerated and restored. But I don't think that if things are not, if love is not being acted out,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, you can be in a relationship where it's dormant and no growth.
What about if love is experiencing a resting period? Is there a resting period in love? Where it doesn't mean that
What you mean? What do you mean by
just a
that?
period of where it's not.
Love ain't doing nothing?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, nothing currently at the moment. It doesn't mean anything bad or malignant. It just means that it's at a resting. It's just at a resting phase.
What does
It's
that look like? Explain what that means, because I
okay.
need to know what you mean by at
Okay.
a resting
Okay.
place.
Like for example, relationships go through its ebbs and flows, right? So not every aspect of a relationship is the roller coaster where it's at the top,
Right.
coming down. Not
For the record, sometimes the top part ain't the best part.
Yeah, but
That part is scary, but I know your
right,
point, highs
right,
and lows.
right.
I get
The
you.
thrill, and then
The mountains and the
you're right
valleys.
in the mountains and valleys.
Yeah, yeah.
What about plateauing? Right. And not plateauing with the intention of you staying there, just plateauing because it's just a natural progression
But what
of
does that
of
look like? If love is forgiveness and patience and sacrifice and all of those things that are intentional, what
Mhm.
does that look like when it's plateauing and it's not
or
growing?
or in a state of rest.
Yeah, what does that look
Okay.
like? What does that mean?
Okay. Two people in an argument.
Hmm.
Um, they had a fight. They both realized that patience need to be demonstrated on both of their parts,
Right. Okay.
right? But for as of right now, in that moment for them, they just might need to take a moment to rest from. Yeah, they might need a moment just to rest from, let's say, the normal way that they probably engage each other,
Hmm.
just to take a step back to reflect on and if anything probably work on themselves in terms of the things that now they discovered that what they need to do in order to better the
But that's growing
relationship.
in love to me. That's not resting
but
in
it-
love,
but
because that's
rest.
doing something different than what you would normally do. Acknowledging that you need
Hmm.
to pull back
Hmm.
and do something different, even if you might not know exactly what it is, but yo, we can't do what we've been doing because that don't
Hmm.
work. To me, that's growing in love. That's not plateauing like
It's not.
that. To me,
You
I don't
don't you
know.
don't see that as like a rest point. Like, you know what?
No,
Let me let me rest from this a certain way that I might have engaged. I might have to do a self reflection.
but that's
And
growth. Self
and
reflection is growth to me,
it well, yeah, self reflection should produce
especially with
growth.
the right with
Yeah,
the intent to grow. So
right,
for me,
right.
I don't know. Resting to me, and maybe we need to redefine what rest is. And when we talked about
Yeah,
sleep, that
but
there
rest.
even though when you're
Hmm.
sleeping,
Yeah,
you're physically might be immobile, you're not
mhm,
moving,
right,
but your body, your mind, the things that happen to your body when you're sleeping, that it needs to be restored. And
right.
so there are things that are happening, but
Yeah,
and when I think of rest, I don't necessarily think about that latter part. I
yeah.
think more of, not that something is growing and being regenerated. So
Hmm.
when I think of love resting, I'm thinking of love not in action. Like we talked about the other
Yeah,
day, an emotion is emotion, and
yeah.
love is something that's in motion.
Right.
What does it look like for God to rest in his love for us? What would that look like for us?
God does it right now. God is doing it
No,
right
but he's
now.
actively loving us though. When we every moment of grace and mercy that we have, that is active love. I don't think God has rested in his love for
Yeah.
us. So I
Well,
cannot apply
well,
that
he
to that.
invites us. Well, let me put it this way. I come from the other angle. He invites us into
His rest.
his
No,
rest.
I agree with
Right.
that.
Right.
But
But
I'm talking about him
right.
in
But
his love. His love doesn't rest or pause or plateau. Like you capped out and you're just gonna coast off.
no, no, it
No.
doesn't play. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I guess what I'm saying is this: that um, even with growth, there are moments of rest. You need moments of rest in order to grow. If you break a bone, in order for the bone to grow back, there has to be a moment
Where you're not
of
on your limb.
rest. right?
Yeah.
In order for the body to rejuvenate and repair and to grow what was depleted, whatever, it requires rest, sleep, whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
In order for relationships to reach certain levels, it can't be always a constant I'm doing. Sometimes it might need, you know what? Maybe one party might need to rest and the other party does, and vice versa. And switch positions, if you will. So that's what I mean in that respect. That rest is a component of
component of
growth. Not to say that it's
stagnant.
that is independent and mutually exclusive of growth
yeah.
in this respect.
I get it.
Right.
That's
what I'm saying.
Makes a point to you, and you get like, there's something that you said that's it clicks, but then there's a part of me that doesn't fully get it. But I understand what you're saying. I think the analogy that popped into my mind was, when you're learning to play piano, you know how to play piano. I took a few lessons, right? What I do know is there's a point when you master whatever point A is. When you get to point B, you don't just fly from point B to C. There's a point when you are going to continue to do B until you're like, I can do this with my eyes closed. Like, I don't need to do this.
Right.
And you are growing, but it doesn't look like it. It's like arrested growth. And arrested growth, where you're just doing the same thing. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
That's the analogy that came to mind when you were explaining it. And
it.
I don't know if that's exactly what you mean, but I understand what you're saying. But I guess to me, in those moments, I still think of it as growth. But it's like the dormancy of sleep.
Right.
Where it maybe seemingly nothing is happening, but something different is happening. There's something that is being refreshed, renewed, restored, something different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
If a person's growing muscles, there has to be a point of rest.
In order for you to grow.
In order for it to grow, right?
Yeah, I get it.
In order for a person to become a master pianist, right? He can't keep doing the exercises every single day, hours and hours on end. There has to be a point now where his hands can rest, so they can recoup, so they can repair and grow, so that they can the muscles in your hand can remember what it needs to remember, so that when it comes off of that rest, right? Then now they're more limber, nimble, right, and more flexible, and able to reach and do things that
limber would have worked too. Limber and nimble, they would have both worked.
Thank you,
go ahead.
Thank you, wordsmith. Right, right. But it needs that period of rest in order. Right. I think what you might be associating rest with is like the idea of just totally stopping.
Yeah, because in my mind, I understand the concept of you need to rest in order to grow. That goes for anything, for a baby, for a muscle to heal, or anything. Like, I understand that concept. But when I think of love being an action, I don't think of love as something that needs to rest in order for it to grow. I think for love to grow, you need to be constantly doing it. Right. I think of it just the opposite of just about everything else. Like, you have to constantly be doing, and that doesn't mean wild gestures, of love, but it means I need to be actively patient, actively forgiving, actively serving. I need to actively do those things in order for it to grow. Otherwise, they won't grow.
Okay.
In my opinion, when it comes to those principles of love, those pillars of love, there's no way that you can grow them. Right. And I know there's scripture to back it up. I just can't think of it right now.
What's that? 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient.
No, I'm talking about the idea of things growing by you perpetually doing them. I know there are proverbs, and I know there's stuff in the New Testament that speaks to just the practical thought of, in order for something to grow, you have to maintain it and continue to take care of it. So for me, that's where the rest of it. I understand the practical concept, but when it comes to love, that's one where it's like, not for love, not for the sake of love. But
in terms of falling, well, I guess you know where I stand.
Growing, that's dead.
Yeah.
Falling in love is dead.
Yeah, I don't think it's falling. I believe it. I think it's intentional. I think it involves full awareness. I think you need to be in position.
Let's talk about in position.
I think you need to be to be actively, like I said, aware, like in the moment. I think you need to be, because some people act like, like they're absent-minded, with their lives or with people that they're getting to know. You're with a person, but you're not really there, and then all of a sudden you might catch this thing maybe like a few weeks later. This person says to you, you know what? You have nice eyes. Well, wait a minute. This is our 12th date, and you now notice my eye color? Well, I didn't notice before. But we went on 12 days.
You've been staring in my eyes across the table.
Right. So what were you
doing? Yeah, thinking and focused on?
Yeah, were you really in the moment the last 12 dates that you now realize, let's say 4 months later, that
I wish you would compliment my eyes 4 months down the road. Not that I'm saying I need it on the first date.
You're beautiful.
But I'm just excuse me. You did compliment me. Listen, you did compliment me on my eyes very early on. And I'm not saying if it would have taken 4 months, I would have been like, why you didn't? It should have taken. I'm not saying that. But I understand the point taken. Point well taken that you can be with somebody and be totally disconnected. You're not tapped into really getting to know them, being intentional, paying attention to what they say, what they do, their movements. That's something that, what do you say? It's something in the Bible that says that a husband should study his wife.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Learn to live with your wife in an understanding way.
Right. And the only way you can understand something is if you study, because what's going to tick me off or trigger me or what works for me or doesn't ain't going to be the same for a man and TT.
No,
it ain't going to be the same. So in order to dwell with me with understanding, you have to study me. And of course that does not directly apply to dating, because your wife and your girlfriend or the person you're getting to know it ain't the same rules for dating as marriage, is what I'm trying to say. But the concept is, I think, fair across the board. If you're trying to get to know somebody, pay attention. I mean, pay attention. And they should know that you're paying attention by how you're initiating, how you're responding, what you're doing. It'll show in what you're, the fruit of whatever it is that you're trying to grow.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So guys,
we done?
I think. Are you? Are we done? Are you done?
No. You have anything else to say?
Are you done?
Is that an Instagram thing?
No. I'm thinking about Kevin Hart.
Oh.
He's like, are you done? Huh? Right?
No.
Huh? You done? Right. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in this case,
we done. I just want to talk to you some more. Well, we could cut the camera off and talk. So y'all this is what y'all get. Cause I thought we was gonna talk some more, but I guess we not talking no more.
Yeah, I think we said all they said. I think so. I think we should be intentional, folks, with your love, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Try not to fall.
Grow in it.
Don't with the love. Let's not do that.
And
folks.
define what it is, because you can't properly grow in something and not fumble it and not think you're falling into it if you don't have it properly defined. I would encourage you to learn what love is from a biblical standpoint, and I guarantee you, not only how you see the Lord will change, how you see yourself will change, your identity will shift, and it will have a profound effect on how you love others, how you receive love. All of those things will change for you. So I would encourage believers and non-believers to really redefine what love is and not take your cues from culture, but from Christ. It will change your whole entire life. Take
Amen
it from me.
That.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
All right.
Yeah. So on that note, she is the spice.
He's the sacrifice.
And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.